Hey guys, welcome back to One Sky Gaming. Joe here. Have a very special guest, my good friend Jeff. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. So we're going to talk about a game that has taken over the world, the universe really, Pokemon Go. Things we like about it, things we want to see improved, just some different questions and things like that. It's going to be awesome fun. The game's been out for over a month now, pretty much like a month and a week. So first off, let's just talk about the things we like about the game, Jeff. So be a little positive.
Yeah, I'll just basically just say my thesis overall about the game before we start talking about the intricacies of the game. I think overall, I like the direction that the game is going. I don't think it was perfect upon release, and I think Niantic expected a lot of these problems on release, and overall they've released a very interesting product, though I feel like it is certainly missing a lot of the heart and the soul that the Pokemon series has created over the years, especially with their handheld games. But I think it's a great, fantastic start, and I'm hoping that it moves into a really good direction.
Okay. I agree with most of your feelings. I think it had a great start, but it has not continued as strongly as we would have hoped. There have been a lot of issues, which obviously is going to happen because they weren't expecting 75 million people to be playing it, or whatever the number is. iOS and
did.
Yeah, iOS and Android included. It's a lot of people, and so they weren't prepared for it, with all the bugs and everything. So I give them a break for that. But what I don't, the issue for me is the lack of communication from Niantic when they were changing things and not telling people, or just really never giving information to people. So that's where I started having a little bit of issue with the game, of not just updating your audience, these people excited to play. But I do love that there are finally real Pokemon in the real world. I've been wanting that ever since I was a kid, ever since I was like 7 years old. I've been wanting Pokemon to be in the real world, so that makes me happy, and I play it literally every single day. I walk to work every day, and I'm catching Pidgeys and Zubats on my route to work every day. So what's your Pokedex at, Jeff?
I actually need to double check it. I believe it's at 69 currently. I'm opening up the app right now to confirm that. But
Okay.
I do believe I'm at 69. But I do real quickly want to touch on, I was going to respond to what you're saying about Niantic and their communication. I do agree that I do wish from the start that they are more open about their communication, but they are getting a lot better with it. They're starting to really acknowledge the problems that the game is having. They're acknowledging one of the things that we're going to talk about maybe soon, maybe a little later on, which is PokeVision and third-party apps.
Right.
And I think if they need to continue this trend for me to be permanently... Oh shit, there's a Weedle.
Catch that Weedle. You catch that Weedle, yeah. So wait,
Okay.
did you at least look at your Pokedex?
Shit.
You kind of forgot.
I'm like 90% positive I'm at
Alright,
69.
okay.
So what are you at?
I am at, I've seen 78 and I've caught 77. The only one I haven't caught was an 879 Ivysaur that was at the Pokemon New York, New Jersey Invitational a couple weeks ago. And I was not able to catch it. Used the Raspberry and Ultra Ball every time, and that Ivysaur still ran away. So I'm at 78. Little upsetting, because now I'm at like 99.5% of my seen and caught. But, that's how it happens. I finally hatched a Charmander the other day for the first time. That was the coolest feeling.
But yeah, I saw you post that like 3 a.m. in the group chat.
Yeah. And then like right after I hatched that Charmander, another Charmander popped up. So I basically got like, 10 candy instead of 7.
It's good.
So let's get into our first topic. So
I will say I was right. 69 Pokemon. I've seen 71. I didn't catch a coughing that appeared at my house one day on a incense, and then I also didn't catch a Dratini that I saw when I went to New York City.
Nice. I haven't caught a Dratini yet. But PokeVision, Jeff. All right? You listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay, cool. So
I just wanted to say my Pokedex.
No, I get you. So if you don't know, PokeVision was the third-party website app, whatever you want to call it, where you could go out of the game to see what Pokemon have spawned in your area. So say you're at the park and you're walking around and you see on your side of the park there's only Pidgeys and whatever Rattatas, but on the other side there's a Scyther that you want that is, it's going to be there for like the next 10 minutes or something. It was really, really cool. A lot of people loved using it. But the first question I'll ask, we have different questions, but it wouldn't be a Pokemon discussion if we didn't talk about cheating, because everyone loves to talk about cheating in Pokemon, either in the game or with PokeVision. So, do you consider PokeVision cheating? Because a lot of people did, because it was using an external source to gain an advantage within the app.
I don't think it's necessarily gaining an advantage. To me, I don't consider something cheating if it's open to everyone. PokeVision, literally, you went to, PokeVision.com?
Yeah.
And literally anybody could do it. And it brought something into the game, which especially around the time was something that wasn't in the game, which is the ability to track Pokemon. The point of the game is to go traveling out and collect Pokemon. And I don't see it as cheating necessarily to be able to have an inkling or an idea of where to go, because with the way that, they've made approaches to fixing this, but you weren't able to actually know where Pokemon were, so you really had no sense of direction or where to go when it came to trying to catch Pokemon. And to me, I don't like that just kind of aimlessly wandering around thing. I think this is something that Niantic needs to keep in mind, is that giving us a goal, giving us a destination will get us on our feet more, and I really don't think a system like this is necessarily cheating.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like the question, if something is cheating, I would consider it cheating if you use it to enhance the game to do something that you're either not supposed to be able to do within the game, or to make it faster. So getting unlimited money in The Sims or Grand Theft Auto, or what I mean, things like that. That would be a cheat code, because you're taking steps out of the process of the game. Where I see PokeVision, I didn't think it was cheating, because it's not like you can just use PokeVision.com to catch all the Pokemon and you don't have to use the app. It just alerts you that there is a Raichu over by the lake, or a Dratini over by the lake. You know what I mean? So you still have to go in the app, and you still have to walk over there, and you still have to try to successfully catch it. So it's just it's just like how I see for Destiny, they have the public events. Every 20 minutes you have a war sat or a different event, or kill this certain enemy. There's an app for the public events where you log in as your PSN, your Xbox One account, and it tells you in 20 minutes in this section of Mars there's going to be this public event. That's how I see PokeVision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I had a point I was going to make, but I did forget about. Oh yeah, this is the point I was going to make. With also PokeVision, it's not like it's saying, oh, this Pokemon right here is CP 500 and this one over here is CP 10. It's not telling you that. It's still a random CP amount when you go to the Pokemon. So yeah, you might find a Dratini, but it might be a 10 CP Dratini. So how does that necessarily give you an advantage in the game? It's still random how strong the Pokemon you are getting are. So it's not like, if PokeVision, I'd say listed oh, this Pokemon's gonna have this much CP, which of course is impossible, because even if two people come across the same generated Pokemon, they could both still have different CPs. So I also don't see that as, even more, I don't see PokeVision as cheating.
And then if you could use PokeVision to generate alright, I'm 3 candy short on a Bulbasaur to get my Ivysaur, and you could generate a Bulbasaur so you could evolve it. Yeah, that's cheating. But using the website just to tell you where that Bulbasaur is. I remember one night walking in New York City, I saw a Bulbasaur was 8 minutes left, and it was 7 blocks away. and I bolted so hard because I hadn't caught a Bulbasaur at that point, so I wanted just to get it in my deck, and I ran and was sweating, and I didn't even get it. It ran out before I got there, but that didn't, don't think that's cheating. But the other question, so we agree on that, and I think most people would. But the other question is, should it come back? Should it be allowed to come back? Niantic has stated, they asked PokeVision to, cease and desist, not to use the website anymore, and that they will not allow it to come back because it was causing server issues. They had to delay their launch in Brazil because PokeVision was just too taxing on their servers. So they forced the people behind PokeVision to stop, and for the future, it's not going to come back. So, do you think that in a perfect world where it can exist, should it be allowed to come back?
My question is Niantic necessarily telling the truth with the impact that PokeVision had on their servers? Like, how do we know for a surefire fact that the instability on the servers was caused by PokeVision existing? Because all that, I think, in the original journal article that they released, basically their first public statement saying what's going down with the company, it was literally just a little graph, which I know this is like a little conspiracy theorist is saying, but you could just really make that in Excel. So
from my knowledge, from what I was reading on online different articles, what Niantic was saying was that when someone was using PokeVision, it was essentially them logging in twice. So if 1 million people are using PokeVision, that's 2 million people that are logging in. So it's adding more people. So that was their defense behind it. It was creating more players using it, and it was messing with the amount of people in the servers.
I think Niantic needs to take a look at the success that PokeVision has and really reevaluate what they really want to change about this game and when they do, because I think it was quite evident that what people want in this game is to have some ability to track Pokemon, which you really currently don't have. Like, the new tracking system still completely fucks rural players, which I'll get into my whole spiel about rural versus city players later, but still completely fucks them, especially if there aren't Pokestops around, and really doesn't give you the sense of trying to go out and explore and find Pokemon. And so when you see millions of people going to a service and using PokeVision to track Pokemon, I would think Niantic would sit there and go, maybe this is a feature that people want back, the ability to track Pokemon. And clearly, if a third-party developer can pull this information from Niantic has this information that they can put into the game, and they even have this system in the beta, and I want to personally know, and I want Niantic to say why this information has been slowly taken up, because if you saw beta screenshots and beta players, they showed the exact kilometers you were away from individual Pokemon, and that then went to the footstep system, and the bug then took out even the footsteps, then they took out tracking in general, and then now they have you see Pokemon in the grass, so that they might be nearby, and then there might be some near Pokestops. I think Niantic really needs to see, oh wait, people really want to track Pokemon. What's going to make people happy and make them want to come to our game? The ability to actually track Pokemon. So, I don't like it. I think it's fine for PokeVision to go away, but they need to say, this is what people really wanted, and maybe people will stop making these third-party apps and trying to invade our system if we actually give them a system ourselves to track the Pokemon. So I think until then, we need something like PokeVision to fully enjoy this game to the max.
I agree with you there. I think my big thing, so some people want PokeVision to come back just in general because they liked having that additional way of tracking specific Pokemon. They see, how many times you've been playing PokeVision and there has been a Squirtle in your 9 nearby Pokemon for 6 hours. You know what I mean? And you have no idea where it is. You have no idea what section. So it's using PokeVision to see, okay, well, it's actually, 20 blocks away. It's not worth my time or whatever. I'm going to run out of the timer. That way, that this thing that you really want to catch, say it's a Pokemon you haven't seen yet. Say it's a Rhydon or something.
I actually have a story about that. Sorry to cut you off.
That's right.
The other day I was walking, I decided to go explore a park because I heard that it was a pretty good Pokemon area, which it turns out it was very good, especially if you want to catch Staryu. But I was walking along the trail, and all of a sudden, in my nearby section, there was a Gyarados sitting right there. I'm like, holy shit, I want to get this Gyarados. But guess what? I have no way to know where the fuck it is. And so I'm walking around.
That's the big issue.
Not knowing where it is. And I wanted to catch this Gyarados. I want to be able to see where it was. And I don't think it's that much of a problem to be able to go out and get that Gyarados. I also had the same thing happen. I was sitting at home. All of a sudden, I see a Nidoqueen on my tracker. And I want to go get that, but I have no idea where to even start looking for it.
Right. So, in my opinion, if you ask me the question, should PokeVision exist, I would say no in theory, because it's not a Niantic, it was not Niantic created. It's, I'll believe them for now, and they say that it was causing stress on the servers and everything. I'll believe the story.
Definitely.
But
if it's causing stress on the servers, it absolutely shouldn't exist.
But since there is no way of tracking in-game, I think until they fix that bug, they should allow PokeVision to, maybe not allow them to come out, but PokeVision should be able or available for the players who want to play, because like I have that same situation all the time where I'm walking around and it's like, it's not even worth the effort for me to even try to see, because I have no idea how far or close this is, because the system is like, it could show up as my number one most close, most nearby Pokemon, but it could be like 6th away, and I could be facing the wrong direction, and I'll have no actual idea. So it's not even worth it. So like at this point, because of that bug, I just I work in New York City, so I get off the train and I play when I walk to work, and I play when I walk home or walk back to the train, and that's it. But before I was going to the park like every other day, like I was going all over my town just trying to find different Pokemon. But now, because that system's broken, and now that I don't even have the chance to use something like PokeVision, where I can see where those Pokemon are, it's not even worth playing at this point. It's not even worth putting the hours in.
Yeah, when me, Mark, and Lolo went up, which, by the way, for Joe's viewers, those are some of our friends. Me and them went up to New York City and went to Central Park. The amazing thing that I saw is, yes, there were people that were out there playing Pokemon Go, but you didn't see them in like the vast waves that you saw when the game originally released. Though we went to the edge of Central Park. I think it was around like 60th and 5th, and there were about 5 Pokestops basically within reaching distance in the app, and there were so many people sitting around those Pokestops. They all had lures on them, and I think Mark had a Snapchat. I don't know if you saw a Snapchat video, but just so many people just all huddled into this one area, and that's what this game is becoming because we lack a tracking feature like that. The most efficient way to play this game, even on a casual level, is just to sit at a Pokestop, put down a lure, because that's the only way that you're really going to be able to surefire get Pokemon. You have no way to actually go around and actually find Pokemon anymore, which in my opinion, I thought that was the point of the game, not just to
catch them all, right?
I mean, yes, to catch them all, be very best. We could get into that off recording, but anyways, I think it just really takes the game down level when it's just everyone sitting at a Pokestop with a lure on, instead of everyone traveling around trying to catch Pokemon. The spirit of the original game, when you go around, travel around, catch Pokemon in different areas, go track Pokemon, all of that. That's what we're in the original games. Now you sit in one spot, you have a lure on, and you just catch Pokemon like that. You sit in one spot, have an instance on, Pokemon comes across you every 5 minutes. I don't think that was the original scope of the game. The original scope was to travel around catching Pokemon, and now that sense of the game has been completely lost.
Yeah. So, and you kind of touched on it. So, you and I, we both play the game just as much, but I think I'm level 22. So, what level are you?
I'm 19. I'm getting pretty close to level 20.
And I think probably the biggest difference, even though we play the same amount, is I play in a city. I play in New York City, and you play in a more rural area. So here's your soapbox, Jeff, if you want to discuss the difference between Pokemon Go in rural and city areas.
It's literally night and day. Playing out where I live, like I can turn on my app right now. I can't even get Pokemon. Like like you say you play every single day. I think that was the first time I've actively opened the app in the last 2 days, because there's really, when I'm at home, there's literally no point in me playing the game, because at the most, maybe when I turn on the app, there's a Weedle right there, but I could leave my phone on here for like hours, and maybe after an hour another Weedle might appear. So what's the fun in that? And even going like walking around, I really don't find Pokemon. And the closest Pokestop to me, if I were to really think, is probably about a 2-mile walk from me. Whereas if you're in a city, like if you're in New York City, when I went to New York City, you can't even go 5 feet without a Pokestop being there. And there's literally, like, I turn on my app, 5 Pokemon appear right next to me. And
so
also,
okay,
so many
so what's the issue? Is it too available in cities, or is it not enough in rural? Like, do you want more Pokestops in rural, or do you want less in cities because they have an advantage over you?
I don't care about like this, like the cities is fine. I think that I know that the algorithm that they use for Pokemon spawns is based off of the amount of Pokestops that are around the area. And what happens is when like a town or an area only has maybe 2 or 3 Pokestops, then the spawn rate in that area is very, very low. So I'm not sure entirely how to change that, but try to fool around with the algorithm a little bit so that Pokemon do spawn more often when you're outside of an area with a lot of Pokestops. Because I saw this point made online on Reddit where in the actual handheld games, you go to cities to avoid Pokemon, and you go to outside of the cities to catch Pokemon. Whereas Pokemon Go is the exact opposite of it, where you are going to cities to catch Pokemon, and you go to rural areas to not catch them.
Yeah, that's really not what we've been doing for the last 20 years.
So to me, it's just like I look at city players. Like when I would go to New York City, I see them have all these Pokemon that are like I saw somebody with a max CP Dragonite own a gym. I could never dream of getting a Pokemon like that in years.
Right. And how are you supposed to fight that gym and gain experience to try to catch up? Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. I do think like I've reaped the benefits of it, but there are way too many Pokestops in New York City. Like it's just ridiculous. I don't understand why.
And then the algorithm goes insane, and you just have Pokemon literally spawning left and right. Like when we went to New York City, I think I caught over 120 Pokemon in the span of a couple hours.
Yeah.
Whereas out here, I don't think I've even caught that many.
That's tough.
I like doubled my Pokedex just going into the city.
Well, looks like you're gonna have to move just for Pokemon Go, Jeff.
And like even when Pokemon do spawn, I think everyone's made the jokes by now. It's either a Weedle, a Pidgey, or
Rattata, or a Zubat that you can't catch.
I actually don't get a lot of Zubats even. It's so many Weedles.
I don't get any Caterpies. I think I've caught 3 Caterpies this entire time.
And like, yeah, I get that those are good for leveling, but it gets to a point, it's like, I want a Pinsir, I want an Electabuzz, I want a Jinx, I want a Dratini, but I've literally never seen a Dratini on my...
I haven't either.
And when I look at my Poke Radar, and I think I've posted several images to our group chat, I've had times where it's literally just Weedle, Rattata, and Pidgey on my nearby, and it's really discouraging when it's now a month and a half in and I'm still just catching Pidgeys and Weedles.
So that's my big thing with this game is that it seems like obviously there's always issues with games when they launch, and they never expect as many people to play as there actually are. So there's always server problems, but over time, video games, and that's everything. That like Diablo 3 had that terrible beginning. Like it's what happens, but it gets better. But with Pokemon Go, the experience has gotten worse. So things that have changed since the beginning of since July 6th when it came out in America, they're all just marginal like changes, but when you stack them up, it really adds up. So they They increased the Pokemon scanning from every 5 seconds to every 10 seconds. So if you're driving or you're in a car or you're on a train or something like that, you're not going to catch as many Pokemon on your scanner because it's happening literally half the time. They decreased your radius from 100 kilometers or whatever to 70 kilometers. They increased flea rates. They decreased catch rates. They're just like all of these issues. They got rid of the step system. Like, honestly, if it was broken, like, I knew it was broken, but still just put the 3 feet in there so I have this kind of sense of, you know what I mean, some control over walking
we'll
around.
put that 3 feet in for $5 an hour.
Well, that's not true. But, like, that's my issue, is that, like, every change that they've made so far over this first month has made the experience worse. And I understand it's more important for them as a business model to get this out to as many people as possible before fixing it so they can get more money. But, like, it doesn't make...
Released?
But, what's up?
Are there any more services? Sorry to cut you off. Are there any more services that need to come out?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Brazil was like the last country. I mean, probably. There's probably a couple more. There's 300 countries or whatever in the world, but not all of them are going to play. But like, is it, so to you, is it more important to get the game out to everybody and then fix it as it's going, or have a solid game first and then flesh it out to the rest of the world?
I think I avoided saying this in my general summary of the game, but I really feel like the version of Pokemon Go that we are playing is very much a beta version that they basically got out because everyone was so hyped. Like, I think everyone that I knew was so excited after they first announced, hey, we're making a Pokemon mobile game where you can catch Pokemon in real life, and everyone's like, that's fucking awesome. So I think that they definitely rushed out the game and that they didn't really give us a fully fleshed out game, and it's really showing through all these bugs, all these different changes that they're making, and the fact that we don't have systems that are core to the Pokemon experience. I think it's unexcusable that we still do not have a trading system. I think it's positively unexcusable that there is no battling system outside of gyms, whereas I can't go up to you and battle you. That's like the core feature of Pokemon. That is what the games were all about, is battling your friends. How many times in elementary school did you link up your link cable with one of your other friends, when they allowed you to have Game Boys in school, of course, and battled Pokemon, battled your Dragonite against his, like, Bulbasaur or whatever?
Well, the Dragonite's gonna win, but...
The Dragonite's gonna win. Hands down, but you can still have those battles. Those are the best parts of Pokemon. But we don't have that in this game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we have the shitty little gym battles, which is just a bunch of tapping on the screen. But I want to be able to go to Joe's and say, listen, Joe, my Vaporeon is literally going to beat the shit out of you. And you know what? I can't do that. I cannot do that. And that's so upsetting to me that we have a Pokemon game where you can't battle people. Like, I don't know what the excuse for that is.
I think the trading is more important because they're putting like more of an emphasis on catching Pokemon than battling. But I do agree that not having trading or battling is like ridiculous at this point.
Like they said, trading quote unquote soon. Like,
right.
What's your definition of soon?
Yeah, well, they also said Gen 2 would be coming out soon, and that is December, rumored to be December. So
they have a lot of, in my opinion, they have a lot to fix before they even think about releasing Gen 2.
So,
like, I think a lot of the stuff that we've stated, I think has to be implemented into the game before they even think about releasing a second generation of Pokemon.
So you talked about it earlier, saying, like, jokingly, saying that you can get tracking back for, $2 or $5 or whatever. So let's talk about the money. So a lot of these mobile games are freemium, as they call them. They're free, but you can pay more to either do something that would take you longer to do in the game, or you wouldn't have the availability to do. So like something like Clash of Clans, where you can buy the emeralds or whatever it's called to speed up the process of your building things. So for Pokemon, obviously you can buy Pokeballs, you can buy lures, you can buy lucky eggs, all the different things. You can buy more inventory space. But you can also get more by winning battles in the gym battles and holding down a gym and collecting it. So collecting your prizes. So slowly but surely, earn enough Poke Points to get more money that you can use on Pokeballs, items, you know, whatever, lures. So, have you experienced the game like being freemium, or are you able to just play it without having to worry about spending money just to keep up?
The key with freemium games, and the reason why they're designed so intelligently, is they allow you to have a baseline experience that is pretty much enjoyable. Like, at a casual level you can enjoy it, but if you really want to indulge in the game, at some point you're going to have to spend money, and Pokemon Go is no exception to this. And I think, like, I don't mind the lures, I don't mind the lucky eggs, I don't mind the incense. Those things, to me, are perfectly fine to charge users for. The inventory space, egg incubators, I can understand all that. I don't have a fucking rat's idea why they charge you to get more Pokeballs. I think that's a slap in the face for anyone who even wants to play casually. Because I know plenty of people, including myself, where I think I can probably open up the app right now. I think I have like 5 Pokeballs in my inventory. Let's see, I have 3 Pokeballs and 2 Great Balls in my inventory. And especially as a rural player, I don't have that many Pokestops. And the Pokestops give me what? 4 Pokeballs? And so the only way for me to go around...
So you're gonna spend some money, Jeff.
I have to spend money. I don't get why, like, I think this should be the game design. Give us an unlimited amount of Pokeballs, maybe then let us buy Great Balls and Ultra Balls, and then also be able to get them from Pokestops. Because I think you were alluding that they want the core essential of this game to be catching Pokemon. Why limit me behind a paywall from doing that? And you can say, oh yeah, just go to Pokestops. As I said, I think I can think of 3 Pokestops within a 5-mile radius of me right now. And so I just have a severe lack of Pokeballs all the time. And the only way that I can get more Pokeballs is to put in the $5 to get 100 Pokeballs.
That's the issue. If it was if there was $1 for 100, I'd be like, okay, I get it. You know, they're just trying to make a buck, but whatever. But it is way too expensive for these things. Like, egg incubators are ridiculous. Like, for the amount of eggs you get and for the amount of effort you have to put into hatching those eggs, there are no reason they should be so expensive. Like, I don't have an issue necessarily with charging for Pokeballs or eggs or lucky eggs, you know, lures, whatever. But the price system is just ridiculous in this game. There's no reason it should cost this much. If they want you to continually keep spending and spending and spending, like, I put $10 down once because I ran out of Pokeballs, and after that moment, I'm like, I'm never going to put another penny into this game because it wasn't even worth it. I bought the 100 Pokeballs, and it was like, I don't even have enough for like another 100 and like an egg incubator or something, and I just spent $10 and I don't even get like anything useful. Like, just the pricing is way too off for me.
Like to me, the number one problem is just you touched on it before. They increased the flea rate and the Pokemon coming out of the ball rate.
Yeah, they decreased the catch rate.
Decrease the catch rate, and then also Pokemon, fight back. And so I've had times where I put in 10 Pokeballs on a Pidgey. Like, Pokeballs are so they're so discardable in this game. It's not a completely abnormal thing to put 10 Pokeballs into catching a Pokemon, and
right, like a level
so
120 Pidgey.
And when it's so expensive, like, as somebody who plays casual, as somebody who, like, I consider myself not necessarily a casual player of Pokemon. I like to go out and get as many Pokemon as I can. Like, even on, like, a casual level, like, how the fuck are you supposed to play this game? How are you supposed to play this game where the priority of the game is to actually capture Pokemon, but they put capturing Pokemon behind such a big paywall, and especially if you don't live in a city where you can just get Pokeballs from Pokestops, which are not always guaranteed to get from Pokestops. Sometimes it can just give you a bunch of potions and raspberries, but how the fuck are you supposed to play this game on a casual level? To me, it just alienates so many people. Like, going back to the rural thing, you're always just gonna run out of Pokeballs. Like, the only way that I'm gonna get more Pokeballs right now is to buy them.
What's really ironic, Jeff, about this whole situation is that one of my concerns with the game is that being a New York player, I have too many Pokeballs and I don't have enough room for potions and super potions and things, so I can't do gym battles because I can't revive and use potions, because I'm not going to delete any Pokeballs because those cost money for me, and you know what I mean? And I can live without the potions, so I discard those because I only have 350 items in my bag or whatever. So my issue is the direct opposite of yours, where I can't even experience half of the game of battling gym battles, trying to represent Team Instinct and help and take down the other gyms, because I can't keep potions and revives in my inventory because I don't ever want to pay for Pokeballs ever again.
Let me flesh out the idea that I offered before, and let me know if there's any problems with this idea, because I can't think of personally any problems. Make it so that you have an infinite amount of regular Pokeballs, but you can still buy Great Balls. You can also then buy Ultra Balls, and you can also get them from Pokestops. Is there an issue with this idea?
I think that ideally it makes sense to have infinite Pokeballs and to come across Great Balls and Ultra Balls on Pokestops, but I think from a business standpoint, Niantic would make the probabilities or the accessibility of Great Balls and Ultra Balls so minuscule that it wouldn't help the problem, and then they would also increase the amount of Pokemon in your areas that would need to be caught more likely with a Great Ball or an Ultra Ball. So it'd still find a way, they'd still find a way for it to be a bit of a, you can pay money in this situation. So I think it's a cool idea, but I don't know if it would be as practical.
See, this is my problem overall with Niantic and how they're going about this game. I think people are honestly going to spend enough money on the lures, on the incenses, on the lucky eggs, on the incubators, on the storage stuff. I think that they're going to make more than enough money that they don't need to charge for Pokeballs. And the big thing that charging for Pokeballs does, I think I mentioned this before, is it's going to drive away the casual players, because they're going to run out of Pokeballs and they're just going to close up and say, okay, I'm not going to play anymore. So if you want to appeal to the casual market, because at the end of the day, the casual market is going to be the biggest market, and I feel like it's really alienating them when you're forcing them to pay to really even play the game. Where it's almost crossing the line, in my opinion, from freemium into pay to play. Because in order to actually play the game, you have to buy the Pokeballs, especially if you're in a rural area.
Yeah, I can see you having that issue, or people in rural areas having that issue. Obviously, I don't have that circumstance since I am in the New York City area, and there's Pokestops every 10 feet. But my issue with it was when they decreased your radius from 100 to 70 or 75, whatever it is. I used to have an optimal route planned where I walked to work, that I knew what streets to turn on, which had the most Pokestops in it, where I can reach on both sides of the street. But now I can't. I can't even I say I'd get 10 or 15 per walkway. Now I will get I don't know, 6 or 7. Where it's still obviously it's better than yours. No offense, but it's I don't know. It's definitely an interesting point that I didn't think about. I didn't think about the rural perspective as much, because obviously I'm not in a rural area. So thanks for opening my eyes to that, Jeff.
Oh yeah, no problem. It's just I want to be able to enjoy this game, because overall it's a great idea for a game. It's just it's so alienating, where it's only going to really hyperly appeal to, I don't want to say small audience, because cities are huge, but it's only going to appeal to people in a densely populated area, and that's where the game is going to be best played. If you're really anywhere else that literally is not a city, I've heard even suburbs, the outskirts of cities, are pretty bad as well, because you still don't have a lot of Pokestops there. And I get that. I think what Niantic is overall going to say is, well, there are parks, but I don't fucking live in a park. There's people that live in the city and literally just sit there and have like 3 Pokestops around them, whereas I have to, my closest park that's a good like Pokestop heaven is probably half an hour away at the closest.
Yeah,
and so
it's difficult for you.
I have to actively go out of my way to be able to play this game.
So okay, so that's the last question that we'll discuss here. Is we're over a month in. The rumors say that Gen 2 is going to come out in the winter, so probably December, maybe late November, something like that. They've had 100 million people play. I don't know the exact number. Just saying, a bunch of people play this game. Obviously, you don't retain your entire audience in any game. You never do. But
it's a honeymoon phase.
Will you, or do you think that there will be continued success for Pokemon Go? Or will you, just find a point where you think it's not worth it for you anymore and you'll stop playing?
They have to fix the nearby stuff. They really got to fix the tracking, because they have shown numbers that the amount of people that are playing the game immediately started decreasing the day that the 3-step bug showed up. And I really wouldn't be surprised if the numbers show it's still decreasing. It's I really think it's a big enough bug. I know that their focus was getting it released in as many countries as possible, but I'd say fix your game first, because the game doesn't work the way it's intended to work. I'd say it's a pretty game-breaking bug when a Pokemon tracking game doesn't have the Pokemon tracking feature.
Right.
It's like Call of Duty. It's like, to me, if they release something like Call of Duty, and then them being like, oh guys, by the way, the multiplayer isn't working, and we're not going to get that working for another 2 months. Like, there would be such a huge outrage for that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I get that Call of Duty is a campaign as well, but such a big focus of that game is the multiplayer feature. And just to say, oh yeah, so that's just not in the game, and we're not going to fix right now because we don't see it as important as getting it released in every country. Well, what's the point of releasing it in every country if it's only half a game?
Right.
So I think their number one priority, and the system that they put in is just really extremely filler, and it's not really what anybody wants.
Yeah.
And they just need to, they need to bring back tracking. I can't say that point enough.
I agree. I think I'm not going to stop playing the game just because I've been waiting my entire life. I've been playing it a lot less, just because of the tracking issue, where I just play it when I have the chance, where I used to actually make time out of my day, where I would make plans with friends. I was texting with my friend for 3 days straight, just trying to find a day we were both off and both were going to go to the park just to go play. That doesn't happen anymore, because you just can't work. So I'll keep playing it marginally. I'll slowly build up my count. We have friends who are at in the 90s on their decks. I'm in the 70s. You're at 69, 70. Wish it was higher, but some of the things, my greatest wish for Pokemon Go is to get rid of what I call these poison pill Pokemon, where a poison pill contract in sports is when you put this ridiculous incentive in it for when you're trying to sign a player away from their original team, so that the original team doesn't match that contract. So basically, you're doing something really dirty to get what you want out of it, right? So these Pokemon that are 150 CP, Spearows that growl every 3 seconds, and they break out of 6 Pokeballs and they flee away afterwards. That's what needs to stop. I get this nearby system is broken. I know they're gonna fix that. The whole point of the game is to see what's nearby so you can catch it. But these Pokemon that have no business taking up so much, the Golbats, the Zubats, the Rattatas, that all just are ridiculous and just deplete your Pokeballs and your Raspberries and everything. More. Right, exactly. So you have to buy more. That's my issue. If they fix that, apparently they said that the flea thing is a glitch, not a glitch, a bug. Excuse me. That's a bug. It's not intended to be like that. So hopefully that will get fixed too. But that's my biggest hope for the future of Pokemon Go is they fix that. But and I also get a Dratini because I still haven't gotten a single Dratini. So that's my two big things.
Let me answer your question from before a little bit better. I'll say whether I'm personally going to be playing Pokemon Go in the future, I can safely say I'm not going to go out of my way to play the game, which what I mean is I'm not going to specifically go to a place to play the game. I'm just going to maybe occasionally open it, especially until they fix a lot of the issues that I said about the game, especially the nearby tracking feature. I want to see them do something in Pokeball so that it literally isn't, it's just kind of turned into a pay-to-play game, because you almost, like, especially if you're a role player, as I said, you basically have to buy Pokeballs, and now you really do not want to put more money into this game, especially when I only have 5 Pokeballs right now.
Alright, well, thanks for joining me today, Jeff. We had a very, very long, very, very thoughtful discussion about Pokemon. We're big fans, and we want to see it grow, right?
Yeah, and I do want to make it clear that I think I've been negative about the game for the majority of this, but it's just because I really like the idea that's behind this game, and I really, really want to see this game grow. I wouldn't have put money into the game if I didn't want to support the game, and so I definitely want to see it grow and get better and stay relevant.
I'm with you. I'm excited for when Raikou joins Team Instinct in December. So
that's going to be great.
That's going to be
Spark
fun.
for life, Team Instinct.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching, guys. Follow Jeff and I down below. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to try to do more podcasts like this, different things. Let us know what you want to talk about, like One Sky Gaming. Not One Man Sky. One Sky Gaming is our channel, Jeff. Come on.
One Man Sky.
One Man Sky. If you want to see some content for that. Maybe the Suicide Squad movie or other superhero movies that come out, we can talk about. So let us know down below what you want to see out of some fun One Sky Gaming podcasts. Also, let us know in the comment section what you think of Pokemon Go, what you like, what you don't like. Like, comment, subscribe. Jeff, any last words?
Pokemon Go is a good game for good people.
I like it. Have a great night.